Hi, I'm Coleton.
I'm Daniel Williams.
And we're here to talk about the counseling problem in high school. So, look at where you are now, and then compare that to when you were in high school. How did you get from when you're in high school to where you are now? Who was there to help you? Who was there to show you the resources you needed? Who was there to show you the opportunities with FAFSA, scholarship, grants, these types of financial resources? Who was available to show you career paths, things that you can do with your life in high school? More than likely, it was just your parents helping you with these types of things. The career counselors in high schools, they have specific goals really to do more so standardized testing, and as well as other behavioral type goals. And who's there to connect you to these types of resources? This brings us to our problem with there being lack of counselors on a national level. This can lead to things such as poverty and unemployment when higher education is not attained, or even high school isn't finished. These types of this is the poverty rate in Evansville. If you have less than a high school education, you're 34% likely to be under the poverty line, and as soon as the bachelor's is attained, it goes down to about 6%. And then kind of the same with the unemployment rate in Evansville. Starts out at about 11% without a GED, and then down to a bachelor's, you have a 2% unemployment when a bachelor's is achieved. So having people to help students achieve these higher education goals will help with poverty and unemployment, specifically in Evansville, but probably in a nationwide level. So our specific problem is that there is a problem in public high schools with career and higher education counseling. There's not enough face-to-face counseling or people to really show and help students with this problem. The national ratio for students to counselors is 482 to 1. The recommended ratio is 250 to 1, which, as you can see, even the recommended ratio is not enough to suffice a student achieving a career path or even higher education. This is something that these counselors are responsible for. There's not enough funding in schools for these counties. They don't have enough money to hire more counselors. There's about 3 counselors no matter how many students are in the school. And that is a big problem, this ratio. It's also has to do with these barriers to students. Students have barriers with their financial literacy. They have issues with not knowing exactly what they want to do or where they want to go work. They have issues with finding any kind of resources. They have issues with even willingness to find these tools, which is a huge responsibility for students sometimes when the tools aren't available for them.
So there are, and one of the current approaches being taken is the Southwestern Community Foundation Alliance. And what they do is provide scholarships for high school students in the community. They provide grants for environmental, health, youth development, human service organizations. And another approach is that high schools offer FAFSA help. They offer workshops that parents normally volunteer. Kathy Weinzap, our expert, who's a career coordinator here at USI, said that there's not many of these that take place, and that the ones that do are put on by volunteer parents of high school students who have previously been through it. So there's not a set organization and a set time and hired people to do this. So another approach being taken is that high schools put on career fairs, which helps students figure out trade, job opportunities, different paths they can take out of high school in the workforce. Another one is the Tech Center off of Lynch Road. They provide stuff, accreditations such as CNA, they provide welding, they provide classes you can take for coding, many accreditations to help students after they graduate high school without going to a bachelor or 4-year above institution. So to close these opportunities the gap here, there's the Indiana Department of Education. They provide online resources such as the FAFSA. They show a few basic career paths, but don't really break it down. They provide information on entrance exams to college, such as the ACT, the SAT, the PSAT. And although it does this, it doesn't provide any face-to-face interaction with students, and it doesn't provide any information on scholarships for students going into college.
This is the only resource we found.
Yeah, this is the only resource. Couldn't find another organization that helps this issue. So Kathy Weinzappel again, she reviewed 91 resumes pardon me, from sophomores here at USI, and only three to four out of those resumes she believes the students actually understood the position that they were applying for the job, and actually got a grasp of what they were applying for. So she, at her school of employment, she was a principal, and there were 350 students to 3 counselors. That was the rate, which is still a very large gap that could be shortened, tightened quite a bit. So the counselor's main goals, as he said earlier, are to promote better test scores for the school. This is something else that she mentioned was a big issue. And to regulate behavior, but not to show students a career path or educational path out of high school. More just to make sure the high school runs smoothly and that students do what they're supposed to do. So there's obviously a large need and a large shortage of career and higher education counselors in public high schools throughout Indiana and throughout the nation. The current approaches do not offer a valuable and useful solution to the scope of this problem. It's a very big problem. There are many opportunity gaps to be closed, including career awareness, financial aid literacy, and scholarship awareness. And as said above, the main issue that we get down to is the 482 to 1 national average.